Anyway, now, Mark, we're going to start. I would like to call to order the meeting of the New York Empowerment Zone Corporation for today, Wednesday, November 12th. All meetings of the New York Empowerment Zone Corporation's directors are public meetings, and members of the public are welcome to ask questions after each presentation. Those questions should be focused on the matters raised by the presentation itself. 2 minutes are allotted for comments from individuals, and up to 4 minutes to individuals who are representing organizations. Following a question and answer period, a motion will be made and a vote will be cast. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the June 30th, 2014 meeting that we held. It's a reminder of when we last met. So let me first ask, and folks can turn to this in their board materials, if there are any questions about the minutes, comments. Often we do have, edits and corrections for the record that are important. So let me ask if anyone wants to suggest any direction, any edits or changes to the minutes. What?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Jeff. Hearing no suggestions for edits or corrections, then I'll ask them, therefore, for a motion, which Jeff has offered. Thank you, Jeff. There's a second, yes?
Second.
Thank you. You and Ken will arm twist over that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Good. Motion carries. The minutes of our June 30th meeting are therefore adopted. Now, let's see. The next item. The staff of Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation is going to present initiatives proposed by their office. So, Marlene, we turn this over to you. I think this is regarding your budget.
Yes, it is. There is a motion, I believe, to present to you all a budget that is supposed to be for the whole fiscal year, but there is an amended proposal for it to be just until the next quarter, end of December of 2014, so that we have the remaining period of time to just go over some last-minute issues, and then we will present and get approval for a final budget that will encompass the rest of the year.
Let me ask my colleague from the Office of the Deputy Mayor, because this is an item, obviously, I know that we've been talking to you about, if the proposal, as Marlene has made it, is satisfactory.
Yes, so we just discussed, and Marlene and our office and Marianne and everyone, we've all been working on a strategic plan, and we need to discuss the plan itself and the staffing related to that plan, which we hope to conduct over the next month and a half. So the plan is to meet again in January, and then have a full budget.
It's for the board's meeting and for us to meet prior to.
Exactly.
Very good. Does that work, Marlene? Will that be all right?
Absolutely.
Good. Well, then, I'll entertain a motion for approval of this. And again,
So
it would be,
moved.
just so everybody knows, right, it's another quarter of your current funding level, pending these discussions that sound like they're going well and almost resolved. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
For the motion. Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, cities. Good, very good. Well, that takes care of that. And let's continue. Now we'll turn to our colleagues at UMass for their item. Staff of the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone Development Corporation will present initiatives proposed by their office. Alexander Chavala is going to present the Victoria Tower Initiative. We can, wherever you are comfortable, Alexander, wherever Ken wants you, close to the microphone.
Is your mic down there? Okay. Thank you, Mary.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So, UMass is requesting a $10 million loan to the Victoria Tower project. It's going to be a $10 million subordinated mortgage loan to this project that is going to be a 380,000 27-story tower to be built on 125th Street next to the Apollo Theater. It's a $165 million project, and it's going to bring a lot of benefits to Upper Manhattan. So let me walk you through the different components of the project. The project is going to have 5 components. The first one is a hotel, 208 rooms managed by Marriott under the Renaissance brand. It's going to have all the facilities and amenities connected to that level of service, including a rooftop bar and a ballroom. In addition to the hotel, there's going to be approximately 25,000 square feet of retail on the ground floor and second floor of the tower. Tenants that are in discussion right now to enter the space include Trader Joe's and Denny's. In addition to the retail space, there's going to be approximately 23,000 square feet of cultural space in the tower on the 3rd and 4th floor, and they're going to be made available to local cultural institutions on a maintenance cost basis only. The space will include 2 theaters, including Black Box Theater, as well as administrative space. In addition to that, there's going to be a parking garage under the tower and residential units. Approximately 196 units, of which 50% of them will be affordable for a period of 50 years, which is beyond the normal guidelines for affordable housing. So that's the project. Construction is expected to start in the first half of 2015 and to last approximately 30 months. It's going to be run by the Rinaldi Group, which is a New York-based construction group that's done a lot of hotel construction, very reliable, and that has ample capacity to do the project. The upper Manhattan benefits of the project are expected to be very significant. Over 370 full-time equivalent jobs are expected to be created. In addition to that, there's going to be 570 construction jobs. Obviously, the project is going to have tremendous benefits in terms of tourism in Upper Manhattan. It's going to be the second hotel in the area, but it's the first full-service hotel. The first hotel, the Aloft, that opened in 2010, was actually the first hotel to be built in decades in the area. There's also going to be significant benefits in terms of cultural institutions. The space is going to be made available to institutions at a very low cost, so it's going to tremendously benefit the cultural area. The developers of the project are all very experienced. It's a team of 3 developers that teamed up together. You have Danforth Development Partners, which is a Harlem real estate company. You have Exact Capital that specializes in residential units, and that's done a number of projects in Harlem already. And finally, you have the Lamb Group, which is a prominent hotel developer in New York City. They've done a number of projects, over 40 hotel construction projects in New York, and they manage approximately 11 of them right now. So very strong partners that have experience in all aspects of the project. Very strong development team. As I mentioned before, total project costs are approximately $165 million. They're going to be financed with a combination of debt instruments, subsidies from the federal, state, and city level, as well as developer equity contribution. The bulk of the project is going to be financed by Goldman Sachs, which is going to provide a 36-month senior construction loan. Under this will be the UMES subordinated loan. In addition to that, you've got approximately $40 million in subsidies. The affordable housing component of the project will have approximately $20 million in subsidies from the LIHTC program as well as from HPD. In addition to that, the developers have applied for a $5 million grant from the state CFA program for economic development. And there's going to be approximately $30 million provided by the city for the fit-out of the cultural space. Finally, the last piece of the financial stack is the $10 million equity contribution from the 3 developers. The terms of the facilities, the senior loan from Goldman Sachs and the UMES loan are coterminous. They will both have a 36 months maturity with a potential 6 months extension. So that leaves ample time after the construction of the project, if anything is slightly delayed, to refinance the facilities. The Goldman Sachs loan is priced at LIBOR plus 4.5%. The UMES loan is priced at 6%. Looking at the revenues of the project now. In its first year of operation, the project is expected to generate approximately $20 million in revenues. And in terms of net operating income, it's approximately 50% of that, or $11 million. The hotel is going to generate the bulk of that revenues, approximately 60% of that. The assumptions on which those revenues are based are quite conservative. At the hotel level, occupancy is expected to reach approximately 79%, which is approximately what's being seen right now at the Aloft Hotel, which had an 80% occupancy level in 2014. And that's a significant discount compared to the Manhattan average, which is approximately 89%. In terms of the average daily room rate, the projections are based on $185 per night, which represents a 35% discount to the Manhattan average. So based on those numbers, we believe that the Marriott will be able to attract a number of customers to Harlem. On the retail segment of the project, projections are based on a rent per square foot of $50, which is significantly lower than what can be seen on 125th Street right now. At the Whole Foods, the building that will has the Whole Foods at the corner of 125th Street and Lenox Avenue, rents went to at $175 per square foot. The residential project revenues are based on market rates that are currently being seen in the area and a 2% vacancy rate. Based on those revenue projections, we believe that the project is able to service its debt adequately for the 6 months to 12 months period during which the project will service its debt. The debt service coverage ratio is expected to be 1.74, which is a very strong ratio. And we've also tested stress case scenarios in which we have lower occupancy or lower room rates or higher vacancy rates on the retail part of the project. And in all those cases, the project is also able to refinance it, to pay its debt service. Because the two facilities are interest-only, the project will have to refinance and take out those two facilities at their maturity date. And based on the current projected revenues as well as the current cap rates on the market that are being seen right now, the project will be able to refinance both facilities when the term comes. Based on all these points and the very significant Upper Manhattan benefits that the project is expected to bring, we recommend approval for the $10 million subordinated facility. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Alexander. Very helpful and thorough presentation, and the materials submitted for our consideration report were very helpful and detailed as well. Let me ask if there are any questions or comments from directors on this item.
Well, I'd only say
You have to say something, Ken.
I am compelled to say something, but just briefly, as you know, Ken, this is a project long in the making.
Mm-hmm.
The recession, I think, prevented its development several years ago when the developers were initially designated. But we think this is really a better time for this project to launch, given what has happened on 125th Street, and it embodies the priorities of both the city and the state, as indicated by the, it is a priority project of the Regional Council, on which I sit, and the CFA grant of $5 million is an indication of that. Hopefully they'll be able to get that, as is the $12.6 million in capital funds for the city for the cultural. So that, coupled with the long-term, full-time equivalent number of jobs, as well as the construction jobs, we think all equate to a impactful project that will have a very beneficial impact on the corridor of 125th Street, as well as all of Upper Manhattan. So we're very enthusiastic about it, and we have supported this project for a long time, and we're very glad to see it finally come to fruition. It passed my board unanimously just 48 hours ago, I guess it was. And we're glad that this moment is finally here.
Alexander did such a great job presenting. I don't really have to say much, but I will say that I've been associated with this project with 2 elected officials. And part of the delay when we had the economic collapse is part of the main reason why this project took so long to get going again. But I've been working very closely with the groups involved, ensuring that we move forward. We're very close to completion. I think this last request will get us there. So I will hope that we move for approval.
Thank you very much. So now?
We are very excited. Obviously, it's 50% affordable housing, 50% market rate, which is a key factor in the administration's decision to support this project. Of course, the city is also giving quite a hefty sum of cash for the cultural facilities, so we support it fully.
You know, There's my friend Kurt Sarcher. You know,
Mm-hmm.
our colleagues at ACDC, Curtis, and others are also, if they were in the room, they'd be cheering us on, as you all
Right.
know.
Right.
Very important project for the state through HCDC historically, and of course through ESDC as well. And I just, I think that the engagement more than a year ago of the Lamb Group as a partner really was very, very helpful.
Linchpin, yeah.
A linchpin. And really that's helped to turn the corner. And then there obviously their subsequent engagement with Goldman Sachs as the primary lender, facilitator, how we can describe, is critical as well. And the partnership seems very solid with real people with great experience and credibility to do something as significant as this. I'd also say, because this is another development since we last spoke, at least in my memory, that identifying Marriott Renaissance as the hotel flag and operator is significant as well. And I say that just at a statewide level because we are seeing and ESD supporting several other Renaissance-specific projects, particularly in downtown Albany, the old DeWitt Clinton House.
Right across, right down
By the
from
Napa. That's going to be Renaissance flag.
Okay.
And one of the qualities, as I think you all know, or characteristics of that division of Marriott Corporation is historic preservation. The Renaissance flag hangs over hotels or at hotels that are historic buildings in historic places where historic preservation is a key objective of the hotel. And so I just think that's another, and it's not easy to get that designation from Marriott. The project has to meet very specific criteria. So I think that's another turning point for the project that really is a very good sign of the many positive qualities. And Alexander said here, construction's going to start next, you say summer?
First half of 2015.
Put that in, Mark, get that in the next first half of
Hopefully.
2015. Not a moment too soon.
That's right.
Not a moment too
No,
soon.
no.
In any event.
We'll make sure to clean the streets before.
That's right. Well, Barbara Askins, we'll have a big party.
That's your contract.
Yeah. You can hold me to it.
If are there any questions from the public on the item? I should ask before we.
I only have one comment for the record, that there is a labor peace agreement waiver in place for the hotel project.
Correct.
So that statutory requirement is satisfied.
That's Richard. This is our counsel, Richard Dorado, who is. That's a very important point to add to the record as we move forward with the project. And thank you, Richard, for joining us to add that. Well then, if there are no further comments from directors or from members of the public, I'll ask please for a motion
So
to
moved.
approve the loan.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or objections? Hearing none, the motion carries, and therefore the board authorizes the loan to Victoria Tower
Thank you.
for the project.
Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're moving forward.
Yep.
Well, I know you have another item, Ken, that also I understand Alexander is going to present, and this is the Green America Initiative.
Absolutely.
Whenever you're ready, Alexander.
Just for full disclosure, in terms of Grameen, Hope Knight, the Chief Operating Officer of UMass, is also on the board of Grameen America.
Good to know. Thank you for making that disclosure. We noticed Hope is not presenting this, so that's appropriate.
And she's been recused from the entire application
Right.
decision-making process.
Very good. Disclosure is important, as is the recusal.
So for Grameen America, we're requesting a $500,000 unsecured loan to the organization to provide additional loan capital to their new Harlem branch. You might know that Grameen is one of the largest microfinance institutions in the world. It's present in over 40 countries. It's lent over $11 billion throughout the world. And it has a unique microfinance model in the sense that it requires no collateral from its borrowers to lend approximately $1,500 in America at a 15% interest rate, which can sound high, but is actually very low for microfinance products. Grameen America started in 2008 in Jackson Heights, where it opened its first branch, and it has grown at a tremendous pace. Today it has over 19 branches all over the country, including California and Texas, and it's lent over $171 million to over 30,000 unique borrowers, which effectively makes it the largest microfinance institution in the country by lending volume. So it's a very fast-growing company. It opened a branch in Washington Heights in 2010, and that branch has had tremendous success as well. Very fast growth rate. Over the last 4 years, it's reached over 4,000 borrowers, which was above its projections. It's lent over $8 million in the area, which created a significant amount of jobs, but also additional income from all the families that are present in the area that benefited from the loans. Other benefits that Grameen loans provide to families are that they provide free bank accounts at Citibank for all the lenders, that there's training sessions, and by the end of a loan, usually their borrowers have a credit score, which they did not have before. And the average is over 670, which is a pretty good score for that kind of population or demographic. So the track record in Upper Manhattan is very strong, and Grameen wants to replicate this in Harlem. In Upper Manhattan, Washington Heights, it was able mostly to reach the Hispanic population, the Spanish-speaking population. In Harlem, it will in priority target the West African population. Over the next 5 years, the organization expects to invest $10 million in the area, reach 7,000 unique borrowers, and create 6,000 jobs. So the benefits are expected to be very strong for the area. There's also going to be additional income generated for all the families that benefits from the program, all the women, on average $10,000 over the next 5 years. So the benefits are very, very strong, and UMass strongly supports this project. We actually have an ongoing relationship with Grameen, which started in 2010 when the Washington Heights branch opened. UMass provided a $500,000 pilot loan to the organization. We monitored the loan and how it was being used, and saw that the benefits were tremendous. So the loan was replaced in 2012 by a $3 million loan to also provide additional capital to the Washington Heights branch. The $3 million have been fully disbursed. They've been rolled over to a number of borrowers. The loan is performing well. So the project is is working very well for us. And that's why we want to also accompany them in Harlem and replicate the performance of the Washington Heights branch. The Harlem branch is part of a growth strategy at the Grameen level to double the number of branches around the country from 19 to 38 over the next 2 to 3 years. So it's a very, very, very aggressive growth strategy, but the group has done a similar thing over the past 6 years, and we're confident that they'll be able to achieve this. A new CEO recently joined, Mrs. Andrea Young. She's from Avon Products. She used to be the CEO of Avon Products. She joined the group this year, and she's at the helm of this growth strategy. They also hired a new chief financial officer that used to work with another microfinance institution that specializes in fundraising. So they have a very strong team to lead this growth strategy around the country. Microfinance is expensive, and branches are rarely sustainable in the very first year of operations. As a matter of fact, the Jackson Heights branch, which was their very first branch, only very recently reached sustainability, which means that the revenue from the loan income is able to cover the branch expenses. The Washington Heights branch has also been very successful and is expected to become sustainable in the very near future. And there's a number of other branches that are also expected to become sustainable very soon. However, in the meantime, Grameen needs to significantly raise money from different sources to be able to provide loan capital, but also grant funding to pay for the operating expenses of the branch before they reach sustainability. UMass is fully confident in the ability of Grameen to do this because they've been able to raise over $20 million in the past 2 years alone. So the growth strategy is doable, and it's financeable with a reasonable fundraising strategy. For all the reasons mentioned above, UMass is very excited about this project to provide additional loan capital to the Harlem branch, and we recommend approval for the $500,000 unsecured loan to Grameen.
Alexander, thank you. Very helpful presentation. Sonam, do you have any questions, observations?
I'm fully supportive. I actually used to work in Bangladesh and worked very closely with Grameen in that part of the world. I've seen the impact firsthand of how this capital improves opportunity to be a very different context. But I think the work that you guys have done thus far to support Grameen and Upper Manhattan should definitely.
Very good, thank you. Ken, Jeff, any other
I
questions?
couldn't say it any better.
How did you, Alexander, after the first experiences in Washington Heights and the most recent loan of $3 million to Washington Heights, that branch, how did you settle on the $500,000 amount for the New Harlem branch?
I think we wanted to provide additional loan capital to the organization, but we also wanted to encourage them to diverse their source of funding. And so in the previous loans, we also provided grants for operating expenses.
Right.
So this time we decided not to provide that and to provide a lower loan amount to encourage them to diversify their sources of funding and go elsewhere so that they just can't rely on us.
Well, in a way, each
funding.
branch is sort of a startup for them, right?
Yeah,
So I think that makes sense. I just was wondering how you got to
Yeah.
after. You could see some people saying, well, $3 million Washington Heights, $500,000 on 27th Street, that over. I guess what I'm getting to is I suspect you'll be back. If this is successful,
No, exactly.
and Washington Heights is a model that in the future we could consider,
And the
it's got to grow,
Right,
successfully.
absolutely.
No, the $500,000 was the amount that we seeded Washington Heights
Right,
with.
that's what you started
And
paying.
it turned out very well. So we likely believe that there will be a greater demand, but we wanted to see, obviously, how this would perform.
I also want to, Ken, commend you and the team for this way of facilitating microfinance and small business loans with a partner like Ramin. So now, and we had this discussion with his predecessor, Bob Steele, several meetings ago about, UMass doing lending itself versus lending with partners that raise other money. And in this case, for example, to your point, Alexander, I hope you get the Robin Hood Foundation grant because they're strict. That would cover the operating costs of the new branch, right?
Right.
So
So
you
they've
get
secured-
Robin Hood, you get foundation support, philanthropic support for the operating expenses, and then the $500,000 is only, I know in the covenants, it only goes to the loan capital.
Right.
It's a good approach.
We're actually undergoing a strategic review of the Department of Small Business Services, and there's going to be revamping their entire operations to follow that out. So, very, very smart. Actually, while we were talking, I was thinking about how we could potentially extend and get the conversation going to some of the cross paths and pulling in the resources to work with conversation.
And do small lending through the state. Through the state.
Where on 127th Street is the branch? And when did it
It's
open?
actually
the Dempsey Center, which is a former public school, the Oberia Dempsey Center. It is 127th, just west of
27th and Linux.
Yeah, between
Okay.
Also houses the Mama Foundation.
yeah, old public school that's transformed into a multi-service center.
And the interest rate?
1%, similar to their previous loans.
And this has been a game-changing success story for Washington Heights. For many women in home-based businesses. And the high repayment level 95%.
99.
99. Oh, excuse me, 99.5.
Either one is pretty
We're looking for the other 5%.
I mean, they're going to get to 100%, but it's important for the lower part of the Central Harlem community where we have a huge West African population of entrepreneurs that this will really embrace and help those families do more, especially our creative communities.
Part of the model is just not, the loan isn't to an individual, but sort of a group. Right? Isn't there a minimum number of people that have to sign up?
Yeah.
Five, right? That's good. People peer pressure.
Family
That's
entrepreneur
peer
success.
Yeah, it's peer.
Right. It's a peer network there to support
Yeah.
it.
It takes a village, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a village, but it's also that these, right, it's not just peer pressure, it's that people can learn from each other's business models and apply those learnings to respective trades.
Great. Well, if there are there any questions or comments from the public on this item? If there aren't, and there are no further questions from directors, I will entertain, please, a motion for its approval.
So moved.
Second. Is there a second? Thank you, Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries and voting approved. Thank you very much, Alexander, for your second presentation. I think at this point, we're going to give Alexander a break and ask Debbie Meyer, who's going to present the UMass marketing budget for 2015-16. Good morning, Debbie.
Morning.
so this is not nearly as exciting as Alexander's work. I've been at UMass consulting for a couple of years now. I live in Upper Manhattan almost my whole entire adult life. And we're asking for $120,000 to cover 2 more years of marketing, commencing July 1st, 2014, and ending June 30th, 2016. This is a maintenance level work. We want to undertake similar activities to make sure that people understand that Upper Manhattan is a great place to live and work, and to chronicle and share the lessons that we've learned in economic development and community development. The last $120,000 budget lasted over 2 years, partly because some of the work was delayed, so writing about the work was delayed. We have, since the last budget, put out two big reports, a biennial report and an annual report. We were able to capture some of our work with photography. We made 1-page at a glance for UMass and for Upper Manhattan that are very useful, and we revamped the website. We've had many public promotional events, press events, and so we want to continue doing this. We're looking for some upgrades and enhancements to our websites to make it more user-friendly. We participate in networking events and promotional events so more people know that we're here and available. We have press conferences and ribbon-cutting ceremonies trying to promote the people that we work with as well as ourselves. And we sponsor local events like the Harlem Week Economic Forum, the Juan Pablo Duarte Carnaval de Boulevard in Washington Heights, and restaurant weeks and other things that drive people to Upper Manhattan. And we need new collateral material that are updated and keeping up with other people, so we'll be working on that as well. So we're asking for $120,000 to underwrite the marketing communications for fiscal years 15 and 16.
All right, very good. Thank you. I just have a question. You said, is this the same amount? You're saying it's the funding level for marketing is remaining flat?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or comments from directors on this?
No, I'd just say actually it is a non-increase with regard to our prior budget, but it's modest, and my board is undertaking an internal strategic exercise right now, and the likelihood is that part of that will have a marketing dimension to it, and we will likely come back for more resources. But as Debbie indicated, we think that this amount is adequate to the current scope of work that we want to do. Hence, we make the request.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Jeff?
I'm good.
You're good. So none? The only comment I would make, Debbie, and I know you do this, but there's never enough for marketing. Media in New York is so expensive. You have the events, you have the website, you got to maintain a website. I don't have to tell you this. This is your job. But whenever you can do joint marketing initiatives, obviously, I think I'll go back to, and we have some new colleagues working there with HCDC, Curtis and Melvin Norris, with Barbara Askins at the BID, with other even with New York State, our Taste New York program, our tourism marketing through I Love New York, the resources we have there. Let's make sure we're connecting the dots. And so if the state can help, and I should probably say if Sanam doesn't object, that even New York City and Company, Fred Dixon, and things they may be able to do. Already they're trying to sign up the Marriott Renaissance as a member of New York City and Company. They're going to go after them. So, and they'll get in. And then all of a sudden, you'll be going down to Fred's office and seeking support from New York City and Company for good reason. But again, the point would be just to make every effort to work in collaboration with people who share the same general, marketing goals for Upper Manhattan. Shining a spotlight on big events, shining a spotlight on great people, places, and history, culture. It's a very powerful and important thing to do. So good luck with that. Any questions or comments from the public? If there are no further questions from directors or members of the public, I'll ask please for a motion to approve this item.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries. Debbie, thank you. Good luck. We look forward to hearing about the results of all your marketing work. At a previous meeting, due to a lack of quorum, we neglected to approve the administrative budget of the New York Empowerment Zone Corporation. So Marion has gone without a paycheck for the last 4 months. No. For fiscal year 2013. Marion! Talk about it. Huh? Marion, please present. Strike that.
I wonder what happened.
Please present what happened. Please present the fiscal year 2013 New York Empowerment Zone Corporation administrative budget for our consideration.
So the budget request is for $495,000, which is a reduction from the previous years due to staff changes as it relates to staff allocations to the empowerment zone. Of the 295, the number to the zone is really about 205 because the city and the state both are able to keep $135,000 for their staffing needs. So the portion that is really off to the zone is $205,000. The reason that it always reflects the city and the state allocation, just to be totally transparent in terms of what the total cost it is to run the organization. So we need a motion to approve the budget.
Thank you, Mary. Any questions for Mary from directors on the administrative budget? I have only one, Marion, which is we're calling it the budget of 2013 in the board materials.
That would be incorrect. The budget would be fiscal year 2014.
I want to correct that, so, right?
So it's the period from July 1, 2013?
No, it's the budget for fiscal year 14, which we're in now, which would
we're
be
in
July 2014 to June 2015.
Right.
So the request should be for fiscal year 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a reminder that you probably kept this relatively flat, and so when you update the documents, we need to update the dates.
Okay.
But in any case, just for the record, because the board materials are here and they're public, that we should correct the dates, right?
Correct.
So moved.
Very good. Thank you, Ken. Any questions from the public on this item? Any other questions from directors? Any directors on Marion's proposal for the budget? If there are no further questions or comments from the public or from directors on this item, then I'll ask please for a motion for its approval.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries, and the budget as amended, with the dates amended, is approved. Marion, don't move, because I suspect that we've got one more item for us. The Secretary's report.
Tab 7
Tab 7.
is just the disbursement report of the empowerment zone over time. What it reflects is the total was allocated, loan repayments from both organizations, and what was totally approved and dispersed. The chart is designed so that all the directors are aware of what's being dispersed and what's going on. As it relates to timing, this report is as of October 2014. If you're looking at it in terms of...
Right, it's dated today, but the information is
as
through
of
the end of October.
Yes.
Good to know. Makes sense. Well, this is an informational item, which I suspect does not require any board action, right, Mary?
That is correct.
But it is very good of you to share it with us all. And the
so
breakdown between UMass, BODC, the corporation, and the total is very helpful.
So the numbers are reconciled with BODC and UMass accounting staff and with our internal accounting staff as well.
Good. And I don't know, have you had a chance to review it with Sonam's colleagues at City Hall?
They have this, we talk about a number of items all the time, so I'm going to assume we've done this as well.
As an informational item.
It was my first meeting.
Right. Sorry about Paris.
I just have a question.
Please.
With respect to UMass, so what this is indicating is that in terms of uncommitted funds, their balance is $10 million?
No. Help me
It looks
to...
like
I'm
loan
asking to
repayments.
ask.
This looks like loan repayments, but I could be reading it wrong. Marion, how would you address
Yeah.
Marlene's question?
You're looking at the first three lines, Marlene?
I'm looking at line 20.
Total
Down at the
uncommitted
bottom,
funds,
it says uncommitted
Yeah.
funds.
which can't be,
But they're really, if they've been committed to loans, they're committed, right?
yeah, but there's more than $10
Yeah,
million in
there's-
uncommitted
Yeah.
The uncommitted
Yeah,
funds would be original allocation, but we'll double check that number. That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Your original allocation number, I
Right.
believe, is even higher than that.
Right.
Thanks, Marlene.
Very good. And if directors, upon further review of this, have questions on something like this as an informational item, please let us know and we can add it to the agenda for our next meeting. sometimes it takes some time to delve into it. And, we can always discuss it, put it on the agenda at your request. Well, Marion, thank you for that. And Marlene, thank you for your question.
We will, excuse me, Kenneth, I'm sorry. We will send an updated chart once we correct that number.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
We'll circulate it electronically.
Review it, and we are all clear on what remains that we can work with. Well, let me ask if this time if there's any further business any of the directors would like to raise. If not, I'll entertain, please, a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? All right. Thank you all very much. The meeting of the directors of New York Empowerment Zone is over.